Hi everybody, I'm Cassie Young and we are Local Views with Matter News. I work for a local government agency in innovation, and one day I realized there's a real problem because I started hearing from people that they learn more about local social issues from my Instagram than they do from local news outlets. This led me to believe there's a real demand for more and better local news content. This weekend we validated that this is a real problem. 50 survey takers said, out of them, 80% said that they don't feel they have ample opportunities to voice their perspectives to journalists, and 86% said that they wanted more opportunities to do so. That's probably because local news is disappearing and what's left isn't so local anymore. Up to 90% of local news has been slashed in recent times, and most of Columbus's is owned by big companies headquartered outside of Ohio. Woo. All right, so when I met Jalen Grisso, we designed Matter. It's a local nonprofit news model which is investigative, multimedia, and content is free. When we came into this weekend, we didn't know how we would solve the challenge of how to ensure our coverage is truly grounded in Columbus's diverse communities. We were open-minded and mentors pushed us to consider many options for products. But in the end, we realized our strength is in maintaining our unwavering commitment to the viability of local, investigative, multimedia, nonprofit news. And that we needed to increase the value of our content by providing communities opportunities to be empowered to speak out. We got a very small grant recently from ComFest to build a portable audio and video recording studio. And before this weekend, we really didn't have a plan for how we wanted to use it. We just know that we want to bring news into the heart of communities to get residents involved in the shaping of our content and to market these communities for engagement online and in neighborhoods. So we developed a plan over the weekend to set up in strategic locations to interview residents to be sources for our content, but also to inform us about what issues are important to them locally and what we should be covering. Our product is the Local Views program. This weekend we developed it, like I said, and we actually tested the concept, including a web page we built to let people know when and where we'll be popping up. We'll launch a fundraising campaign to support it, and we have various levels for donors, and for increased sustainability, we will encourage recurring monthly donations. The Institute for Nonprofit News also allows one-to-one donation matching for nonprofit outlets like ours. So 28,000 Columbus community members donate to NPR, and over time, we believe we can reasonably expect to get the same level of support being a fellow nonprofit news outlet that is uniquely locally owned, multimedia, and community informed. And based on survey responses we got over the weekend, we could expect to be funded at over $1 million annually from monthly donors alone. And there's precedent because recently, Block Club Chicago, which is a news startup and a community news startup, raised $183,000 in one crowdfunding campaign from 3,000 backers. So our solution is marketing and facilitating this forum for journalists to get out from behind their desks and talk to real people in their communities and have more diverse voices and stories represented in our news. And we would like to measure this because the census and Pew already has a measurement of which communities are most locally engaged with their news. So we want to get Columbus above the national average as well as do surveys with community members. 98% of 50 survey takers said they would attend a Matter mobile pop-up and give their view on local news and local issues. And today we got out there and tested it. We did a prototype, and when we asked about current local news needs, respondents said in-depth and investigative reporting is lacking in Columbus, existing mainstream news lacks depth and context, and everyone who stopped by felt that they wanted more input into the coverage of their cities.
Good, how's it going? Good.
I think that individuals having a voice and a means to communicate is extremely important. Individual is extremely important.
I can't get it to go to the next slide. So yeah, we don't have time for the ask, but it's up here on the board.
Do you all have earned revenue or just donations?
So right now the model is just donations and earned revenue is not currently part of it, but we have talked about the fact that this prototype we've built for the studio could be turned into earned revenue and could be produced for others to buy.
How will you keep content separate from donor influence?
So donor influence, we insulate ourselves from that by mostly seeking small donations. So we did do a survey and we have the results from that over the weekend. Most of the people who responded were willing to donate about $5 to $10 per month. And rather than going after big donors, we're pretty much going to be sustained by smaller donors that would not have influence over our content.
What about paid advertisement?
We do not currently have plans for paid advertisement. That's why we went with a nonprofit model, because we didn't want advertisers to have influence over our content.
What are your expenses going to be like?
So if we were fully staffed, right now we're looking at producing just small amounts of content with volunteers is currently how we're run. But if we were fully staffed, we'd need probably $1 million to operate in our biggest form of what we want to do. But just initially, we're hoping to raise about $25,000 just so we can pay some of our people to produce some content.